A copper tube is pressed against granite. Copper is softer than granite. It should polish the surface, buckle, and fail. Instead, loose quartz sand beneath the tube grinds a circular cut into the stone, reproducing the basic kind of drilling action proposed for surviving Egyptian holes and cores. There is no diamond bit hiding inside it, no lost laser. The thing doing the cutting is a handful of sand, and that tiny experiment gives us a rule for every impossible machine in tonight's investigation. An ancient idea does not pass because a replica looks convincing. It passes only when the evidence survives, the reconstruction works, and we can show exactly where certainty ends. Welcome to Beyond the Pillars. Here, we do not chase myths, we chase data. Tonight, every means every technology on a 6-case proof board. Each one needs two things: surviving evidence that ancient people possessed the design or mechanism, and a reconstruction operating example or material test showing that the claimed function is physically achievable. A reconstruction proves that something could work. It does not prove every missing detail, every legend, or every inventor. That distinction is the line between experimental archaeology and a replica made to prove its own story. Number 6. Egypt's stone drills. Ancient Egyptian hard stone objects, including granite examples, preserve drilled holes, cores, and curved striations. The usual objection sounds devastating. The copper tools available to Egyptian workers were too soft to cut it. Experimental archaeologist Denis Stocks tested the missing part. He placed loose quartz sand beneath reconstructed copper drills. The copper did not have to be harder than the granite, it carried an abrasive that was. The drill worked. Grain by grain, quartz scored the stone while the softer tube held the cutting ring in place. Surviving holes, cores, and striations are the archaeological evidence. Stock's drilling experiments demonstrate that copper-carrying quartz abrasive can produce the required cut. The inference is that abrasive did the real cutting. What we still do not know is one universal recipe. Exact pressure, sand size, drill frame, and crew may have changed from workshop to workshop. The experiment does not prove that every hole was made identically. It shows that these cuts do not require an impossible tool, even though the exact workshop method remains partly reconstructed. A handful of sand solves one cut. Number 5 scales the same lesson up to an entire river. Number 5. The screw that makes water climb. Place a helix inside a cylinder, lean it into a river, and turn. Pockets of water become trapped between the spiral and its casing. As the screw rotates, those pockets walk uphill. The device carries the name of Archimedes. Although earlier Egyptian water lifting traditions make the question of first invention less clean than the name suggests. The water lifting principle itself is not the disputed part. Build one to the old principle and it lifts water. Modern screws built on the same inclined helical principle still lift water, confirming the mechanism even though the first inventor remains uncertain. What is most secure is the operating principle preserved through ancient descriptions and later examples, not a surviving machine securely tied to Archimedes himself. We can prove the technology worked, we cannot prove one famous man invented it from nothing. Lifting water is one thing. Number 4 asked whether 170 people could operate a single machine without tearing it apart. Number 4. The warship scholars had to rebuild to settle an argument. No complete Athenian trireme survives. What survives is a puzzle. Ancient writing, images, shipshed dimensions, and the claim that roughly 170 rowers sat on 3 levels inside a long, narrow hull. For centuries, critics asked whether that arrangement could even fit, let alone row without smashing oars together. So naval architects built Olympias. Launched in 1987 and crewed for sea trials, the full-size reconstruction moved and maneuvered with all 3 tiers rowing together. That is a demonstrated answer to the basic objection. The crowded machine is physically possible. But Olympias is one scholarly solution, not a recovered blueprint. Its trials prove that a plausible 3-tier ship can row and maneuver. They do not recover every ancient fitting or certify the speed of an Athenian fleet. The trireme made a crew behave like machinery. Number 3 hid the machinery from the audience completely. That is what honest reconstruction looks like. A question made physical and a claim cut down to the size the test can carry. Number 3. Doors opened by fire. Hero of Alexandria described a temple altar connected to a hidden system. Light the fire, and air inside a sealed vessel heats and expands. That pressure pushes water into a hanging container. The growing weight pulls ropes around pivots, and the temple doors swing open. When the fire dies, the pressure falls, a counterweight returns the water, and the doors close. Teaching reconstructions can reproduce the described chain using heat, air, water, rope, and gravity. Here, the ancient witness is Hero's transmitted text, not surviving temple hardware. It preserves the design. Reconstruction shows the design is feasible. How often or whether it was installed remains unknown. We cannot turn one manuscript into an empire full of automatic temples. That device moved a door for minutes. Number 2 changed a material for centuries. Number 2, concrete that helps seal its own wounds. The Pantheon's unreinforced concrete dome has endured for almost 2,000 years, while Roman marine concrete has survived centuries of seawater exposure. Survival proves the material could last. It does not by itself tell us why. In concrete from the Roman site of Privernum, researchers found bright fragments of lime with chemical signatures of high heat. In 2023, a team led from MIT tested the idea that these fragments were not sloppy mixing, but part of a hot mixing process. They cracked modern concrete made with the proposed method and ran water through it. During the reported flowing water test, the hot mixed cracks sealed with new mineral growth while the comparison samples did not. That is a real demonstration of one self-healing pathway. Water reaches a crack, reactive calcium becomes available, and new material fills the gap. But it is not the lost Roman recipe, singular. Roman builders used different aggregates and formulas in different places. Lime clasts are one mechanism inside a much larger engineering tradition. The mystery was not solved by one secret ingredient, it became a testable materials system. And number 1 does more than move matter. It turns the sky into a machine. Number 1, the Antikythera Mechanism. In 1900, divers found a wreck off the Greek island of Antikythera. The following year, objects raised from the wreck included a corroded mass containing dozens of bronze gears packed into a hand-driven instrument more than 2,000 years old. Inscriptions and scales survived on its fragments. X-ray imaging revealed teeth and text hidden inside the corrosion. Turn the input, and reconstructions of the better-preserved gearing reproduce cylindrical and eclipse cycles. Proposed front trains model additional astronomical periods. Calling it an ancient computer is not merely poetic, its gear ratios mechanically encode and calculate astronomical cycles, but it also is where our proof rule matters most. Only about 1/3 of the mechanism survives. The back displays are much better constrained than the missing front. In 2021, a UCL team published a working model of a front Cosmos display that fits much of the surviving evidence. It's brilliant. It's also a proposal, not a blueprint recovered from the seabed. So the proven claim is already extraordinary enough. Ancient Greek craftspeople built a compact, geared astronomical machine whose surviving parts support reconstructed cylindrical and astronomical functions, especially on the better-preserved back dials. The unproven claim is that any one modern reconstruction has recovered every missing wheel. And now, the object that does not make the board. The so-called Baghdad Battery is a ceramic jar associated with metal components. That physical combination has inspired electrical interpretations, but it does not prove ancient people used the jar as a battery. No securely associated wiring circuit, written electrical use, or plated product in this evidence package completes the chain from objects to ancient electrical purpose. A thing that can work is not the same as a technology we can prove actually worked for that purpose. That failure is the point. If possibility alone admitted the jar, any replica could manufacture its own history. Requiring evidence of ancient purpose excludes it and makes the 6 surviving cases stronger. Soft copper cut granite because the sand was harder. A turning screw lifted a river. A modern crew showed that roughly 170 rowers could make 3 ore levels work together. Fire opened a door. Lime helped concrete close a crack. Bronze gears turned the sky into arithmetic. None requires aliens, a vanished super civilization, or knowledge beamed backward from the modern world. They require something more human. Observation, failure, skilled hands, and generations willing to improve a machine whose inventor they might never meet. The ancient world was not secretly modern. It was technically brilliant on its own terms. And the strongest case is not that these objects defy explanation, it's that surviving evidence constrains the question. Reconstruction tests what's possible, and uncertainty remains visible when the ancient design is incomplete. Here, at Beyond the Pillars, our mission is to move beyond speculation. Our ultimate goal is to fund AtlantisX, buying a research boat to search the world for the true remains of Atlantis. Building this community is the first step. If you want to be part of this mission, subscribe to the channel and help us build the resources to find the truth. We're just getting started.